Woody, Buzz, and the rest of Andy's toys are back for another adventure in Toy Story 2. And this time we have a toy barn full of hidden secrets and Easter eggs to discover. Let's get a move on. Toy Story 2 released in 1999, 4 years after the original. In animation terms, that's actually pretty common, but it almost took longer. Did you know Pixar lost the movie during production? While working on the film, someone entered a computer command that deleted everything from Pixar's computers as quickly as possible, at which point the filmmakers lost 90% of the computer-generated movie. They did everything they could to get the data back, but nothing was working and the team needed a miracle. That miracle came in the form of a maternity leave of absence. Yeah, you heard that right. Just so happened that the supervising technical director Galen Sussman had a baby around the same time, so she took a copy of the movie home with her before the whole mess began. Story goes that they swaddled that copy in blankets, drove it back to the studio, and were able to get the majority of the files back up and running. Talk about a close call. Still, it's kinda nice to know that even the heavy hitters have these technical issues too, am I right? The Pixar team wasn't out of the woods yet. There was no changing the release date for the movie, and they still had a lot of work ahead of them. Toy Story 2 had to be done in the space of 9 months, an unheard of schedule for an animated film of this scope. Many Pixar editors were working 36 to 48-hour shifts. The emotional exhaustion caused some to burst into tears at their desks, while others suffered from carpal tunnel and other physical ailments brought about by their repetitive tasks. But the team pulled it off, and Toy Story 2 shot into the stratosphere, not unlike Buzz Lightyear. The movie curiously opens in space as Buzz Lightyear makes his way onto a planet where his nemesis Emperor Zurg supposedly has a secret hideout. Give a listen to the sound effects during the sequence. Anyone who loves Star Wars will undoubtedly chuckle at the sound of Buzz's breathing from inside his helmet. It's the same sound made famous by Darth Vader. There's another sound effect from the Star Wars series when Buzz lays waste to the security droid that comes out of the rock wall. His laser has the same blaster sound made famous in the Star Wars universe as well. Finally, when Buzz goes to retrieve the source of Zurg's power, it proves to be a holographic decoy. When his hand moves through it, it sounds just like the wave of a lightsaber. Talk about foreshadowing. Disney wouldn't acquire Star Wars for another 13 years. The Disney and Pixar merger was still even 7 years off. So, what's with the Lucasfilm library of sound showing up at the movie? It's because Pixar enlisted the help of veteran sound mixer Gary Rydstrom, who actually worked at Lucasfilm for several years. Gary's credits span over 100 films, including Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, Terminator 2, and Jurassic Park, just to name a few. As it turns out, we're not watching a flashback or a dream, but a video game being played by Rex, Andy's dinosaur, voiced by character great Wallace Shawn. Rex gets all the way to Zurg before the big bad blows him to smithereens. It seems that as a dinosaur, Rex's arms are too short to jump and fire at the same time, making any hope for a victory inconceivable. Yeah, you Princess Bride fans will know what I'm talking about. Anyway, do you see that calendar behind Rex and Woody in this scene? Does it look familiar to you? The picture is a production still from A Bug's Life. At this point, Pixar only had 2 other feature-length movies that went before Toy Story 2, A Bug's Life and the original Toy Story. So with regard to Pixar references and Easter eggs, there was not a lot to go on yet. The first A Bug's Life reference, well, we've passed it already, is in the video game. When Buzz enters the atmosphere and blasts through the rocky canyon, take a closer look at his surroundings. Believe it or not, you're looking at an earlier version of Ant Island. By the way, did you also know that the floating rocks on this planet were a goof? Yeah, total accident. But John Lasseter liked the effect so much they decided to keep it in for the film. Next up, we have a little moment during Woody's desperate search for his cowboy hat. Mr. Potato Head doesn't find the hat, but he does find Mrs. Potato Head's ear. You're going to want to keep your thumb on the pause button for this one. Stop the movie just as soon as you see Mrs. Potato Head's back. In her hands is a book that she's reading to the Playskool toys, and in the book is a picture from A Bug's Life. One character is partially covered, but you can definitely make out Flick and Dot. There's a really cool abstracted piece of art in Al's apartment. Oh, Al! I should probably give you a little background on him. Al McWiggin is the owner of Al's Toy Barn. He's voiced by Wayne Knight, who you might remember from Seinfeld and Jurassic Park. Anyway, Al is a toy collector whose greed gets the better of him when he finds Woody at Andy's mom's garage sale. Of course, Woody is there by mistake, trying to save another toy, and when Andy's mom tells Al he's not for sale, Al creates a distraction and steals Woody for himself. Anyway, back to the art. You can see it when Al is awakened by the TV during his cheese puff-induced snooze. Did you know that it was abstracted because the filmmakers didn't want viewers to recognize the characters from A Bug's Life on their first viewing? This detail was tailor-made for fans to find on home video. Next up, Heimlich the caterpillar is on a branch Buzz karate chops on his way to save Woody. It just so happens that if you missed it, don't worry, you're sort of treated to it at the end of the movie when Flick and Heimlich appear in the closing credit outtakes. A Bug's Life characters can also be seen on sale as toys in Al's Toy Barn. Take a look at the display on the right as Buzz runs past. You've got Flick on the floor, and Dim is also hanging around. And just below him are obviously Heimlich toys facing away from the camera. Let's jump next to the tree at the end of the heartbreaking Jessie flashback. It's also from A Bug's Life. By the way, did you know that when Tom Hanks and Tim Allen first saw the sequence together, they both admitted to being moved to tears? The song in that scene is called When She Loved Me, and it was written by Randy Newman and sung so beautifully by Sarah McLachlan. Shut up, I'm not crying, you're crying. Let's get back to the bugs. Finally, we gotta go inside an Easter egg to find an Easter egg. Well, technically, this time around, the big Easter egg is more of a plot device as it's used to move our characters forward. Literally. I'm talking about the Pizza Planet delivery truck. Buzz, Rex, Slink, Potato, and Ham take control of the truck and head in pursuit of Al's car. He's got Woody and the rest of the Roundup gang, and he's planning to take them to Japan to sell them for some big bucks. Get it? Because he's the chicken man. Anyway, take a look behind Ham on the floor of the cabin, and you'll also see the Chinese takeout box used by Gypsy and Manny in their magic act in A Bug's Life. And that, my friend, I believe covers it with regard to A Bug's Life Easter eggs. Yeesh, told you, there were a lot. Oh, one more thing about this shot. Ham, voiced by our Pixar pal John Ratzenberger, is studying the truck's owner's manual. Any layperson who sees the back of the truck will recognize it's missing some letters. The letters that still exist read, Yo, leaving most people to believe that the truck they're looking at is built by Toyota. In the real world, they're probably right, but not in the Pixar world. Get a load of the cover of that owner's manual Ham's looking at, and you'll see that it's for a 1978 gyoza. Gyoza, by the way, is a Japanese dumpling. Al's been in negotiations with a museum in Japan who's interested in Woody and his Roundup gang, but only as a complete set. Once he has Woody, it's time to strike up a deal he does. He gets so excited over the phone that he says, "Don't touch my mustache." Odd, right? Well, that's because he's trying to say you're welcome in Japanese, which is pronounced doidashimashite. If you're up for some more foreign language fun, you're gonna love this one. First off, it's a tough one to find. Second, it's a funny little joke. Pay close attention to the scene when the rescue team is crossing the busy street disguised as construction cones. Potato gets held back by a wad of gum, and what he doesn't realize is that the toys have caused so much trouble on the road already, a giant cylinder has fallen off an 18-wheeler and is rolling straight for him. Take a look at the front of the truck and see if you can make out what it says just below the passenger door. The sign reads Kartoffelpfannkuchen. A mouthful, right? Well, just wait until you translate it. You'll find that it's German for potato pancake, which Mr. Potato Head almost became. Yeah, maybe construction cones weren't the best idea. Later on, the team decides to sneak into the airport using a pet carrier for cover. This one's kind of interesting, as any pet owner would know that the physics involved don't make much sense. No pet carrier has holes in the bottom. Imagine the mess. Okay, so the Pixar animators cheat the logic here a little as we see Buzz's feet dragging the carrier along. But not only does Pixar cheat a little, they lean into it. Later, when the carrier bursts open along the intense conveyor system, it tips over to reveal two holes at the front of the carrier. Alright, Pixar, consider our disbelief suspended. I mean, heck, we are watching a movie about walking and talking toys after all. But wait, back up to that first shot of the carrier again. Look in the background. Did you see those kids playing patty cake? Check it out, that boy totally slugs the girl. Oh, he's dead meat. I bet you all the money in the world they're siblings. But what could be more related than this next group of Easter eggs? You're gonna have to perk up your ears for these. After Buzz, Woody, and the gang overpower Stinky Pete, they trap him in the netting of a little girl's pink and flowery backpack. Did you hear the overhead announcement as the bag falls onto the carousel? Lasset Air Flight A113 from Point Richmond now arriving. Lasset Air, say them together really fast. That's right, Lasseter, after co-director John Lasseter. Flight A113, of course, a special place in Lasseter's heart. Classroom A113 at CalArts. And finally, Point Richmond, which is where Pixar operated back in 1999. Boom! 3 Easter eggs in one. Enjoy these fun facts and Easter eggs about Toy Story 2? Well, don't worry, there's a ton more where these came from. Go check out Did You Know These 35 Toy Story 2 facts right now. I hope you liked this video and found some cool new details you haven't seen before in Toy Story 2. Make sure you subscribe to Movie Logic for more daily movie facts, trivia, and Easter eggs.